So I've been thinking about reality a lot. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like, what is reality? What's real? Are we real? Is this world real, etc.? And I know that sounds crazy to some of you, but as AI continues to get more and more advanced, almost to the point where it's sentient, if we do have an AI that starts to think on its own, what's really the difference between us and the robots? Like, we have a soul, right? Like, we have this consciousness in us that allows us to think and make decisions on our own accord. But if robots can do that, what's the difference between them and us? One thing that I've thought about a lot, actually, is the fact that these bodies are just bodies. When my dad was on a hospital bed in basically a coma for 7 years before he died, and he had Alzheimer's and dementia, he didn't know who was his mother. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know who anyone was. But his body was still here. His body was still moving. He was still able to talk. But like, to what end, right? To what end? So the concept of us being, like, our bodies being human, to me, that's been long gone for me. I have since then known that these are just vessels. These are just worm food. These are, this body that I have doesn't represent who I am. What represents who I am is the person talking to you right now in this imaginary video. Or like, what is real? What is this video? Is this video real or whatever? But anyway, it's my consciousness. It's me talking to you. That's what real is. Anyway, so I rewatched the movie The Matrix, right? Come on, baby. I rewatched the movie The Matrix, and if you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna, it's been out for 20 years now. You can go watch it. If you're really worried about spoilers, then, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so they go into this world, like computer world, and this guy Morpheus is trying to explain to him that eventually they find, regardless of what the movie is, they eventually figure out that AI has been farming them. So humans created AI became sentient and realized that humans were bad for the earth. But they needed power. So the robots don't really care about plants and stuff because that doesn't really do anything for them, but they need some kind of energy for their, why they didn't use, like whatever energy we use, I don't know, but they started farming us for energy. They put us in these little pods, and eventually Neo wakes up from it and realizes that they've been farming us. The whole thing is that it's getting like really real, because we have these companies like Nvidia and X and OpenSpace and DeepSeek and all these things that are like, they just keep creating more and more AI that becomes smarter and smarter, and then they are teaching AI itself. I mean, literally all these movies like Terminator and The Matrix and stuff, it almost seems like it's coming to fruition. And I know some of you listening to this are like, oh man, you're crazy. Like, why are you talking about this? Like, this is nuts. But like, if we told you about AI and the robots that we have today, like 20, 30 years ago, you'd be like, no, we're not going to have those. They're not going to have that technology. That's sci-fi stuff. Like, we had all these movies that were sci-fi that, you know, people thought were crazy, but all those things are happening right now. And all I can think about is the fact that, like, you know, rewatching The Matrix, like, you know, I'm not going to do anything stupid or anything. I'm just like hypothesizing here about like what is real. Like what actually qualifies as real? Like what's the difference between us and the robots that we're making? What are you doing, baby? You sniffing? Okay. Eventually, people are going to have robots as like companions. You know, Tesla is bringing. You know, they're big. Elon's big into selling this robot for 25 grand. And eventually we're going to have other weird things like sex robots or robot companions where people are going to treat it like a significant other. And here's my thing. How is that any different than a human? If at that point the robot is able to think for itself, I know this is such a weird thought to even think about, but like if the robots are able to think for themselves, what makes them different from us? Like does that qualify as a consciousness? If it learns on its own, teaches on its own, speaks on its own, does all these things on its own, you know, the only difference between us and the robot is the body. But like I said in the beginning, the body, it's not really, it doesn't define us as real. I'm not saying the robot's going to be a person, but like how is anybody supposed to say that this robot's not going to be real? That what this robot's thinking is not real? What's the difference? I just don't. I think it's coming faster than people think it is. And I think that we're going to be faced with a reality soon that, and like really soon, not like 30, 40 years from now. I'm talking about like really soon. I'm talking about like 5, 10 years from now. It's going to be like completely different than what we're used to. It's going to be a completely different world. I don't know. I don't know what to think. This whole science thing is an exponential curve. It always has been. I mean, if you just think about the last 100 years, 100 years ago, what did we have? Nothing. We had nothing. I mean, like, honestly, think about what we had. We really had nothing. Now we're flying around in big metal machines. I'm holding a phone that I can contact anybody in the world. It's recording me, and I'm going to upload that on something called the internet where anybody can look at it if they so choose. It has become so common, this new technology that we have, that people take it for granted. People don't even think of it as cool anymore. Every year is a new thing, a new iPhone, a new TV, a new whatever it is, that everything else becomes obsolete. I don't know. I'm curious, what do you guys think is real? In your book, in your definition book, what do you think? What do you qualify? What do you qualify as real? If I was going to say, what is reality? What is reality to you? What do you think reality is? Is it something specific? Is it tangible? Is it physical? Does it have to have a consciousness? Like if I tap on a tree, if I tap on a rock or you know, this pole over here, like this pole right here. Does that make it real? Because I can feel it? Because I know there's a lot of things in life that I can feel non-physically that I know are real. I know my dad's around. I know it. I can't explain it. But I know that's real. But that's not in this reality. Are there different forms of reality? Like, is the Matrix real? Where there's different forms of reality? Are there different planes of existence? I'm genuinely curious of what your thoughts are. I know this is like a really random video. It's really random. But I was thinking about the Matrix and robots. I can't stop thinking about the Matrix and robots, actually. So, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Remember, stay positive. It's going to work out. I'll see you later. What's over there? What's over there? Huh? Okay, say bye.